to be on screen with you here today, but we are back, and after the wild action of the Bang Seng Grand Prix weekend, the highlight of the TSS schedule each and every year that we've been able to be part of the action, we take a venture south to Malaysia and to a bit of a limited format this weekend with the Thailand Super Series, or to be precise, the Super Series by B-Quik, supporting Malaysian racing here at the Premier Circuit of Malaysia itself. Welcome to Sepang for this weekend's racing action. It is TSS GT3, GTM and GT4 only this weekend, hence the limited coverage from us as well. As you can see now, our cars heading out of the alternate pit lane here, which they are using for the weekend, and getting ready to go racing shortly for 60 minutes on the clock today, and we'll do the same again tomorrow to bring us races 5 and 6 of the championship for these three classes that we usually see running in at least 2 different races across the weekend. We hope you're all looking forward to this one, folks. Daniel Yeaman here on the microphone for this one. I've handed back stream monitoring and production duties to Jay Kennedy for this weekend, and I'm joined today by Reese Gardner after introducing him to TSS earlier this year. Reese, good to be back with you here despite the lengthy gap between the rounds here in the TSS schedule, and our first flyaway race of the season. We will do this again later on in the year at this very same circuit too.
Yeah, absolutely we will, Dan. Thanks for having me once again, and hello to everybody watching around the world on the English language feed. Last year at Sepang, we barely got any racing in. We were rained out on a few occasions over the weekend, so it's nice to see that the sun is out and the track is dry. We'll be getting a rollicking race going here today. Combined fields for the TSS Supercar GT3, GTM and GT4 fields. They'll all be racing today for 1 hour plus 1 lap. And they'll be doing the same thing again tomorrow. So a multi-class sort of pseudo-endurance race here at Sepang. Looking forward to it. We've had some balance of performance changes come in as well, particularly in the GTM class, which have made a few headlines, in our world at least.
Yes, indeed. We're having a chance to get our eye into the documentation for this weekend. And the big thing being, we have 3 cars, different types of cars in the GTM class this weekend, as fairly standard. We have ourselves a Porsche 992 Cup car in the hands of Simon Chan for Fire Monkey Motorsport. We have our 2 Toyota Gazoo Racing Thailand Toyota Supra GTMs. I nearly said Lexus RCF, but once again, that is what the body kit was last year. We believe it's the same car underneath, but with a new shell to reflect the Supra's sort of rise to a sort of popularity across the world. And the third and final type of car is the Ferrari 296 Challenge, new for this year from the guys at PSC Motorsport, who we have previously seen racing in a Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo, so a bit new for them. But yeah, critically, there is a balance of performance process to try and level out those 3 types of cars, Reese, and the Ferrari is apparently such a different class of car. 63% is the maximum throttle input the drivers of that car are allowed to put into it, which to me is just completely bonkers.
Yeah, it raised my eyebrows for sure. Obviously there's multiple ways that series can implement balance of performance between cars. Usually it's done by ballast weight and tuning the boost of the turbo and
air restrictors, alternatively.
Air restrictors, yeah, just mechanical stuff relating to the car. This is the first time I've seen them put a pedal stop into a car to limit the amount that they can actually power on outer corners. So the drivers of that Ferrari Challenge car will only be able to use 63% of the maximum power of that car over the course of this race. It's going to be an interesting time for them for sure. Yeah.
Now, interestingly, I'm having a look at my timing screens versus we've got on our side here screenshots of the qualifying results, which the 2 sessions were run earlier today off air, at least for us, with the English broadcast. That PSC Motorsport Ferrari was still 1.6 seconds faster than anything else in GTM for Q1, I believe, and nearly 2 full seconds faster than the next best car in Q2. Q2 setting the grid for tomorrow's race, Q1 setting the grid for today's race. But on my timing screens, Reese, the 77 Ferrari, despite that pace in qualifying, and I think I can also see it reflected in the background of the grid as the cars are filing onto the start-finish line here, because you can see the pole position banners displayed across the cars. It would appear that 77 machine is not going to be starting from the class pole, and in fact is buried near the very back of the field as if it's had its qualifying time removed.
Yeah, it seems to be amongst the GT4s in the third last position on this 23-car grid. There were a couple of notes about post-qualifying investigations, so that may have something to do with the Ferrari being moved around. So regardless, that car still incredibly quick, and I'm hoping that we can get a good GTM race, because man, I'm looking at where the other GTM cars are, and they are at the back end of the top 10 overall. There is a lot of ground for that Ferrari to make up.
Yeah, a lot of ground and a lot of cars I'll have to carefully pass, but if the qualifying times are accurate and to be believed, I certainly get the feeling that shouldn't be too much of a trouble pace-wise for them, and with an hour they'll have time to work their way through the field. For those who haven't quite got their head around how we get around the Sepang circuit, 5.5 kilometers of what was, for me, very much a Formula One racetrack knowledge, but it's an incredible piece of circuit here, Reese, as unfortunately we're going to lose the track map there on screen. But yeah, 15 turns, a mix of high speed, low speed, mid speed. It really does test everything here. And also, of course, the fact you've got corners like turn 15 being still very much optimized for motorcycle racing, with the camber away from the apex to the outside of the circuit too.
Yeah, Sepang, the first Formula One circuit to be wholly designed by Tilke, the German firm that is responsible for a lot of the newer Formula One circuits. And for many, Sepang is considered one of Hermann Tilke's best designs, and I would agree with that. It's a beautiful flowing circuit that follows the terrain and has plenty of great overtaking opportunities. Was modified back in 2016 to induce some negative camber in the final corner, so the inside of the corner is sort of a bit more raised compared to the outside than it used to be many years ago. That can, of course, assist with drainage. You can actually see that slight elevation change in the foreground there at the bottom of screen. That's the final corner. The inside of it was raised about 9 or 10 years ago. So that's the only real change that the circuit has undergone that's really affected how people drive around it. Plenty of hard braking zones, many challenging high-speed sections, S-bend in the middle of the lap, and then very quick S on the way back through to the back straight that sort of runs opposite and parallel to the start-finish straight as well. It's a challenging venue, plenty of runoff to speak of, and it hosts a wide variety of great events. In more recent years, it is the host of the MotoGP, Malaysian Motorcycle Grand Prix, and that's produced some classic finishes.
Yeah, without a doubt, that is the circuit. Yeah, great history, both in the past and currently here in the present. So that is going to be a whole lot of what we've got to look forward to, and it's the TSS's turn to add to that legacy there. Just under 5 minutes away now from the start of the formation lap here, which is good to see everything's going on schedule on the grid, at least here, Reese. And we also just saw, whilst we were talking about the circuit, 32 degrees Celsius track temperature. Certainly not boiling hot, actually. I should actually try and get a look at the air temperature when I can in Sepang right now, because that implies, I've just been told 27 degrees Celsius is the number of the day, that the track's not keeping a ton of the heat in it, which I guess means that the tyres will be hopefully not feeling too painful. Of course, the big thing for this year, if you've missed the first 2 rounds of the season, all the news from TSS, we're no longer racing the GT cars on Hankook slick tyres like we are seeing in the Thailand Super Series national categories, still being supplied by Hankook. We are on Pirelli P0 rubber, thanks to alignment and convergence with SRO Motorsport Group to help with getting this category promoted further outside of Thailand, and also, I guess, make it easier for drivers to jump into TSS if they're coming from GT World Challenge, wherever that may be around the world.
Yeah, indeed. It's a huge grab for Thailand Super Series for SRO to come in and sort of make it official, so to speak, in terms of our GT3 category. Some great support that's been lent there, and I'm sure that the teams have all experienced some challenges getting used to the new rubber. Hankook, of course, being the tyre supplier to all of Thailand's Super Series over the past few years, but looks to me like the 3-minute warning is active, and now it's time for final preparations to begin. The crew's moving off the racetrack, and pretty soon it'll just be the drivers in their cars, engines running, waiting to get rolling for the pace lap, and then we'll get this 1-hour race started.
One of the main things, of course, being here in this part of the world, race car cabins get hot, and they get hotter over here. So every last bit of air that the drivers can get their hands on is certainly appreciated. And so we'll probably see at least one team member at the doors of the cars until I think it's the 1-minute signal where all crew members have to start vacating the grid to prepare us for the starting procedure. But going over things here today, you've got 7 GT3 cars, the 4 GTM cars, and our remaining field, which will be 12 cars racing in the GT4 category here today. And in addition to that, you have Pro-Am and Am subdivisions in all 3 of those car categories. So there's effectively 6 races within this race that we're going to have to keep our eyes on. Thankfully, live timing and scoring makes that very obvious which class is which, both car and division as well.
Yeah, for sure. It'll help us out quite a bit to pick out who's who as we find our way through the grid here. Just a few more minutes for final prep to be done. Camera crew running around in the background there. Need to get those shots of the cars before they end up pulling away. Looking at the number 39 machine, Toyota GR Supra GT4 Evo 2. One of a couple of Supra GT4s in this field. And that car starting on pole in the GT4 Pro-Am category. There we go. There's the firing up of the engines. 1 minute to go. Get excited. We're about to go racing at Sepang.
Indeed we are. And also confirmation. So 21 cars setting qualifying times. The remaining 2 cars were the 77 PC Motorsport Ferrari, disqualified by the stewards. A penalty notice, details of which unfortunately we don't have at this stage. And the Racing Aurora, number 36 Mercedes AMG GT4 of Daniel Bilski and Hayden Heikal, did not set a qualifying time, but they are on the grid. I saw them on their shots at the back of the fielders. There you go. The Hankook safety car will roll away. It's time to, I think, wait for, there we go, at 5 minutes past the hour local for the field to be given the green flag here at race control and the formation lap to get underway.
All right. Pull away behind that pace car and get used to Sepang International Circuit. Mentioning, just going back briefly to the track temperature we were talking about beforehand, it's actually quite cool, I think, for Sepang. The circuit is in the same time zone as me. I'm calling from my home office in Perth in Western Australia. And, well, it looks like pretty mild conditions there near the equator. Well, we have the number 18 on pole position with Vutikorn behind the wheel, Pitibir and Bhakti joining him on the front row. Adasak and Akash Nandi there on the 3rd position. Douglas Koo in the GT3 AM class. Simon Chan putting it on pole in the Fire Monkey Motorsport Porsche for our GTM classes, joined by Natavude in the 2nd of the GTM AMs. Moving further on back, find our way to the GT4s, the AAS Motorsport number 99 in P13 there, and you have to keep going a little bit further back to find that number 77 Ferrari that we were talking about beforehand. Just a few more places to go there, and sat there behind Graham Dowsett and Romain Leroux in the Team NZ Aston Martin GT4 Pro-Am. The field ended by Pruturat there, taking it to the start in the Mercedes-AMG GT4, already making our way through to the final sector of the track.
Yep, coming up here, this is the shot to turn 9, second of the hairpins, as it were, on the lap. So another chance for drivers to really get a run. Also, of course, you've got the double rights of 7 and 8. So if you get them wrong, you'll probably be quite vulnerable down into here. And then the final part of the lap with a couple of mid-speed corners and the high-speed entry to turn 12. Long double apex radius entry in a slow and deceptive turn 14. And then the second major straight of the circuit, of course, to complete the lap before firing around the final hairpin and back down the start-finish stretch. Also noting, I just want to point out that Pruturat is actually also, in addition to being one of the few drivers this weekend who is running solo. A lot of cars this weekend are 2-driver pairing, so we will see driver swaps for most teams at the compulsory pit stop in the middle 10 minutes of the race. But Pruturat qualified 20th, and he's also been relegated to the rear of the field to be 23rd and the very final car on timing and the grid graphic that we just went through as well. So something there that maybe a Parc Ferme infringement perhaps, because he's been moved back of his own volition. So there we are. We form up by class 2 by 2 and a little gap in between our GT3, GTM and GT4 vehicles as well. And getting ready to come around the final turn, in which we'll get the starters' orders, and it will be all hands on deck when the lights go out for the racing to begin then.
All right, our classes separating into their various categories. The Supercar GT3s at the front of the field, then the GTMs and GT4s get ready for the green flag. They're using the alternate pit lane, but they are using the main start-finish line to begin the race. Wait for those lights to go out, and then we'll be going for 1 hour plus 1 lap here. Lights out, and away we go. Great start from the pole sitter there, the AAS Motorsport Porsche, but the Acura drawing alongside them there. Piti Bhirombhakdi is going to win the race into turn 1, at least to the braking zone, but huge outbraking maneuver by the Porsche. He's gone a bit too deep, run wide. That will give him the inside line for turn 2 though, but it looks like the Acura NSX has won the race out of the corner. Fantastic start there.
Used the racing line beautifully there, did Piti Bhirombhakdi, and maybe just getting Vutakorn a little bit on the back foot there with trying to control this lead of that race. It's up into turn 4 for the first time. No real moves in the GT3 field, but here we go in the GT4s, at least too wide, too deep as they come up through that 90-ish degree right-hand turn. Also got to watch out for that 77 Ferrari in the GTM class to try and cut his way through, as both of the Toyota Gazoo Racing Supras have gotten past Simon Chan, who had inherited the pole position in GTM as 7 and 8 for the first time here. Both of our leading drivers breaking away now from Vorapur Bhirombhakdi, who has 3rd place under his control, but 2 of the Audis, or both of the Audis, I should say, from B-Quik Absolute Racing on his tail as into turn 9. Still single file for the GT3s and the GTMs. Come back to the GT4s though, and there we are. A bit of scrapping between Caymans and Supras, but we cut back up towards the GT3 battles here as we're getting close to the end of this first lap.
Yeah, nice battle forming here for the top 3. And we have the Ferrari 296 of Vorapur Bhirombhakdi absolutely getting harassed by the Audi R8 GT3 Evos here, one of them in the Pro-Am class, the other in the Am class. So the yellow and black machine there is the leader of the GT3 Am class. Only that car and Douglas Koo's Mercedes in the GT3 Am category. Slightly wide at the final corner for Piti Bhirombhakdi. That does allow Vutakorn back through into the lead of the race. Part of me was thinking that the NSX would try to late apex the final corner. It is way off camber there, but the Porsche having lots of pace on the inside line. The battle continues into turn one.
The main thing there was the late apex might have been an option for Piti, but if anything, I'd probably say he was so deep that he wasn't able to get it back for a late apex as he'd like. They didn't nearly come together though there on the exit at the final corners. There you are. First lap complete. Timing now tower comes up on the screen. The sector times and intervals won't update, unfortunately, until we get to the end of every lap. So it's a screenshot in time of just over a tenth of a second between Vutakorn and Piti Bhirombhakdi at the end of lap one. Here's a look again at that pass for the lead. You know, I think Piti was probably going for that late cutback race as you suggested there, but just as a Porsche blocking his way back, and Vutakorn was certainly looking to open up his exit from the apex there as well.
Yeah, you could see he was opening the steering a little bit when Vutakorn got up the inside there. Probably wasn't expecting the Porsche to hold on to the pace there off the inside line. GT3 field still rather close together. Henk Kicks and Sandy Stuvik are going to be sharing that number 26 Porsche that's bringing up the rear of the GT3s at the moment, still keeping them quite consistent there. As there is our number 77 has cleared most of the GT4s for now. Only the top three of the total GT4 category left to negotiate, as racing here between the Supra and the Cayman. Slightly deep there, almost making contact, but not quite. The 33 and the 98 here. Todd James Kingsford at the wheel of the Porsche Cayman there, and Falfong in the number 33 Supra, looking to gain some more time on the GT4 Pro-Am leader, number 39, which is up near the top. Actually, looks like a few seconds difference between them, so that battle's going to be going on for quite some time.
Yeah, I think actually by the time we've caught up there with the 77, with pardon me, Sarah behind the wheel to start the race, he actually already cleared both Kingsford and Falfong. So he only had Nakib in the leading GT4 car, number 39 Winkin Motorsports Supra, to worry about. But eyes here on the battle for third place. For Bhirombhakdi having to really try and fend off Adisak here in the first of our B-Quik Absolute Racing Audis. And noting here that for this weekend, the number 27 is a new driver pairing, at least for this season. Adisak and Akash Nandi certainly have raced together before and been a pretty formidable pair at it as well. But with other racing commitments, I believe, for one or both of them this season has meant they haven't raced together yet. So they will, when we get to the pit stops, be hit with a slightly longer compulsory stop time to make sure that things balance out. Because not only is there the balance of performance in terms of car settings in this series race, we obviously have to keep our eyes on the fact that we have the balancing and compensation times in the pit lane too, which may, if this top six sticks together like this, really serve to mix things up after the pit stop, which will make for an interesting final half of the race.
Yeah, certainly will. It's one of the aspects I really enjoy about TSS. The fact that pretty much every aspect of the way the race is run tries to balance the cars out somewhat. Battle at the rear of the GT3 field here. The only other GT3 is, of course, Douglas Koo, who's running in 10th overall. This is the battle for that overall 6th position, back to the lead for the moment. And it took Vutakorn a little bit to get the pace up. Piti Bhirombhakdi was super fast on the first lap there, but now that the race has gotten into its rhythm, it seems Vutakorn is jetting away from the front of this field. The battle is still on between Vorovud Bhirombhakdi and Adisak there in the number 27, though. Could be a change for the top three if everything goes well.
Yeah, looking here into turn one, but yeah, gaps opened up a little bit there. So no challenge possible under brakes from Adisak, but he'll certainly threaten by trying to go a little deep there. As you can see, tighten up the exit to really open the entry into that descending turn number 2, but doesn't get close enough to make anything of it on this particular occasion. And additionally, out front here, Vutakorn is absolutely putting the hammer down 1 second faster than Piti Birimbaki on the last lap, and as a result, 1 second faster than the top 4, 2 seconds faster than the 786 and the 26 as well. And don't forget Lauren Heinrich to get behind the wheel of that AAS Motorsport Porsche in the second half of this race. They will be, by the looks of things, the car to beat today if this trend continues.
Yeah, they're looking for a bit of redemption, I think, after the final race back at Bang Sen, when Vutakorn was at the wheel after Lauren Heinrich started the race. They were dominating proceedings. They were way out in the lead, but then we're still not quite sure exactly what happened. But Vutakorn had a big incident down at the Harbourfront chicane, and the car ended up catching fire, and they had to retire with the car practically in pieces at the end of the Bang Sen Grand Prix. So they managed to get that car prepared now for the races here at Malaysia, and things are going very smoothly out the front. Thankfully, Sepang being a former F1 circuit, there's a lot more runoff area than there was back at Bang Sen.
Yeah, it is true that we unfortunately didn't get to see the build up to that incident, but we did see that car clip the apex of the monument chicane, which is something we don't normally see cars do, and then fire off into the outer barriers, which ripped the car apart in such a way that did a bit of a burn down there, which is a little unexpected. As a wide to the last corner for Birimbaki, looking perhaps to protect the car a little bit. It makes him a tiny bit more vulnerable to Adisak on this particular lap. Still should be safe into turn 1, I'd say, Reese, but if he offers up any open lines on the way in, that could change things. But again, Adisak trying to really double apex turn 1 and open up turn 2. But in the process, I think he's just lost a couple of car lengths. So no challenge going to be able to be offered for now.
Yeah, so things starting to look a bit more stable there for the 89 Ferrari, as there's the move there. Finally, the 77 Ferrari has caught up to its fellow GTM competitors, right on the back of Manata Natapong, sharing the number 9 Toyota Gazoo Racing Thailand Supra, and has made the move, it seems. So now can get ahead to the top 2 there that are starting to make their way through. Natavude and Simon Chan, they were quite close together there. This Ferrari is wasting no time jetting up to the back of them, even with the huge balance of performance changes. Remember, 63% restriction on throttle pedal for that Ferrari, still managing to make tracks on these guys.
Yeah, that looked like it wasn't even close by the time he'd gotten out of turn 2, just absolutely cleared off. Now, what's also fascinating is what's been looking so much at the GT3 battle is the fact that Simon Chan here has really switched back on, because he nearly got dropped pretty handily by both the Supras from Toyota Gazoo Racing Thailand squad, but now he's gotten right back on the back bumper of Natavude, so it's on for the class lead. Only problem is they've got what appears to be the fastest car in class comfortably, only a handful of seconds back, and there's just a single GT3 between them in the form of Douglas Koo, as you can see here, running at about the pace of Natavude and Simon Chan, despite having... There is more potential in the car, of course, but we are a category here with a host of drivers. As Simon, very nice run off turn 14, Reese. He's going to have to go the outside into 15, though, with the way he set up the run.
Yeah, good exit there in the Porsche, and late on the brakes. Using the flatter side of the final corner. Is he going to try and do a cutback? Here he is, but not quite able to get alongside until they are well out of the corner there. Attempt number 2 there. The rear engine layout of the Porsche means that it has supreme traction And he's using that beautifully here at Sepang. How hard is Natavude going to fight this one? Very hard indeed. Runs a bit wide. Chan has to open the steering to give him room there. And that brings Douglas Koo into contention as well. Replay here of one of the Caymans. Oh dear, the number 32 GT4 with Iaro at the wheel. The B-Quik Absolute Racing car keeping it out of the barriers, thankfully, but losing a few positions as a result. Oh, the battle's still on for the 98 here, Todd James Kingsford. And now the AAS Motorsport car is involved too.
Yeah, that there. Second place on back in GT4. Again, another battle that's something that's not been happening on screen until now. Look at the gap that was between the Keep, your GT4 class leader, and Faofong. Again, up there back at the start-finish ones. They've lost more time since because of the way they're racing each other into the opening couple of corners. The gap is 12 seconds between P1 and P2 in class. It's the biggest gap of all of them today, because you can see 12 seconds covers the top 5 in GT3. It covers all the cars in GTM at the moment. In fact, well, 12 seconds would cover the GTM field twice over. It gets but by then, and there's great battle here, obviously, for the rest of the podium and top 5 spots, because you've got actually a pair of the AAS Motorsport Cayman GT4s now in this situation. But yeah, 12 seconds. It's a runaway at the moment for Nakib in the Wing King Motorsport Supra.
Yeah, an absolute runaway lead for the moment. So it's up to these guys to fight for the scraps. It seems that Todd James Kingsford there in the 98 is not afraid to stamp on the anchors late into turn 1. I'm wondering if he's going to do the same this time around. But that little bit of battling has resulted in the Porsche getting away. Have a look at this. The top 3 in your GTM class. They are all together now with Douglas Koo in the Mercedes, the one outlier there, running last of the GT3s for the moment. Defensive for Natavude coming into turn 1, and they'll move over to the racing line to try and get something done here. Simon Chan drawing alongside as the Ferrari is creeping up in the background. They'll start checking their mirrors soon enough, but the Ferrari has to make its way past Douglas Koo first. The inside opens, and looks like they should be able to get through. That Ferrari challenge car, I mean, you can really see it there versus the GT3s. That lack of throttle pedal travel the Ferrari is dealing with means that the GT3s can beat it in a straight line. But that Ferrari challenge car does have more straight line speed than your typical GT3 machine.
You mean it would have more straight line speed if it wasn't capped at 63% maximum throttle pedal?
It would, yes.
There is that slight point to note, because we probably shouldn't drum on it too hard, because we'll probably set our piece to it, but looks to have about the speed of the GT3 cars. Didn't actually look like it was that much quicker on a straight line there. I'd almost be saying, looking at this, it's actually got a bit of a cornering advantage over its competitors in front here. We'll watch this part of the sector as Douglas actually almost wants a bit of the action back here. I know he's entitled to race them, I guess, but at the same time, he's not racing these cars. He's a completely different class of car. Ideally, he wants to be up the road, but unfortunately, he's been dropped to the tune of 20 seconds compared to the rest of the GT3s, who are fanning out, but nowhere near as much as Douglas. So, doesn't get there at turn 9, which allows our GTM top 3 to stay together now on the road. Let's watch here through turn 14 race, see who gets the best run of it all, we think.
So Simon Chan has had great runs out of this corner in the Porsche, and see the time that he made up on Natavude just in that one turn alone. Fantastic job from him, but the Ferrari is creeping up once more. Late move to the inside there from Simon Chan, and it looks like the Ferrari has slightly overshot the braking zone for the last turn as well. They're side by side on the way in, exchange for the lead, and now the 77 is right amongst them. Saravut at the wheel for the start of the race. And where does Simon Chan go? He now has to defend against 2 cars here.
And it looks like it's going to be the one into turn number 1. And here we go. Oh, Natavude nearly takes the bumper off of Saravut there. We're only just over 15 minutes into the race, gentlemen. No need to get too feisty here. You got a pit stop, and you got the majority of this race still to come, as out of turn 2 and through the sweeper of turn 3 will go. And it will be now Porsche leads Ferrari, leads Toyota here in the GTM category. As up to the fourth corner again, a narrow entry, but actually almost works on the way in there. But for Simon Chan, better exit will give him the car lengths he needs to settle down and perhaps focus on the line ahead than looking in the mirrors.
Indeed. Well, here we go then. Suravut finds his way through the fast sweeping corners in the middle of this lap. Is there anything that Natavude can do to catch back up? That is the big question. We'll need to wait and see if there's any advantage for the Lexus here as Douglas Koo gets back up the inside here. He feels that he deserves to be amongst this GTM top 3. But in general, looks like the pace is pretty equal between all 4 of these cars. We do have to remember that that Mercedes is not actually competing against the other 3 cars that we've been following for the last lap or so, but Simon Chan, his magic zone of the lap here, exited the penultimate corner, maybe a little wander there on the throttle as the Porsche's tyres will be well rubbered in now. Have a look at the speed that the Ferrari has in spite of that power disadvantage. He's going to go up the inside here, jumps on the brakes, just avoids getting into Simon Chan, almost wheel to wheel on the exit of the corner. They'll draw side by side ever so briefly, but outside line generally better in those situations. But I think it's only a matter of time before this Ferrari's back in the lead.
Oh, we're going to cut away from the battle. No, we want that one back. Because we're looking at second place in GT3 here with Piti Bhirombhakdi. And then a quick check in here. The lead now, 7.7 seconds at the start-finish line for Vodacom over that number 12 Honda NSX. As what was the situation there with the battle in GTM? Can we pretty please have that one back? Because you can see here that it's looking like it's all eyes forward for your outright and your GT3 race leader as well, to have pulled 7 seconds now on the car in second, who in turn has another 2.5 seconds back to Vorwood. The Bhirombhakdi brothers, I believe, as it means now for your race leader. I believe that's his first bit of GT traffic with the GT4s going there down towards turn 15. 44 and 60. Yes, they are our last 2 running cars. So
they're having some fun back there, aren't they?
The lapping has begun.
Has indeed. Nice battle that's happening there between Prutirat and Sepang in our last 2 running cars. There's the second place running Honda NSX GT3. Has got a tidy gap over Vorwood Bhirombhakdi, who still has to check his mirrors from time to time to see how Haziq is tracking in the in Adisak in the number 27 Audi. Things looking stable at the front of our field for now. I'm seeing a note from race control, incident involving car 10 and 77 at turn 1 under investigation. So Simon Chan and Saravut apparently having some sort of coming together.
Oh, don't tell me something's happened off screen. We're going to have to wait for the timing transponders to update here to know what's the situation. You see here, Henk Kick, Sandy Stuvik's car, the last car to have crossed the line. Douglas Koo's car comes through next, and then Simon Chan, Natavude goes through, then Manat. Saravut's car actually just takes a while to update it. So incident at turn 1 has happened, because what was a gap of 0, give or take a car length or so, is now 5 seconds between the 2 cars that were battling. Natavude back up into second at the GTM class. All right.
Okay, so something did happen there. We unfortunately did not catch it. Well, alongside then our third place battle in GT3 with the number 44 of Prutirat Siriangrith. And it seems some time being made up by Adisak in the Audi there. Nice wide line on the way into the penultimate corner. The Ferrari gets all up on the curb and the extra runoff area there. Could be a move happening very shortly. The Audi definitely having a better run down the straight. Peeking to the inside, but not quite close enough to get the move done. Hopefully we get a replay if it was caught at some point of the incident between Simon Chan and Saravut there. But for now, keep your eyes peeled on this third place fight. It's looking good.
Yeah, but despite the advantage off of turn 14, it's going to be turn 1. Once again, Adisak looking for a double apex. Doesn't make anything of it. And I don't think he's able to get anything there on the way into turns 2 and 3. As checking in with your GT4 race leader, Nakib behind the wheel of the Wing Hero Sports Toyota Super right now. You can see Mitchell Chaminji will take over from him very shortly. But whilst we said we missed the battle on screen, Race Control has an update for us. A 10-second time penalty for Simon Chan in the 5 Monkey Motorsport Porsche 992 Cup car leading the GTM category. Now, that time penalty is going to be added to the compulsory stop time, which does count everything from pit entry to pit exit. But that there tells an important story of the fact that we're indeed a big incident at turn 1, and that will hurt Simon Chan in this race.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have hurt Saravut too much, the incident in particular, though, because he's still keeping it within about 6 or 7 seconds of the GTM race lead. Here's the GT3 race lead now working his way past Graham Dowsett in the GT4 Aston Martin. Now I'm seeing also apparently there's a 5-second time penalty from Race Control for car 89. That's Vorovud Birombakti in the Singer Motorsport Team Thailand Ferrari. I did notice a couple of or about 10 minutes ago, they were looking at that car for track limit disobedience, and they have added to the compulsory pit stop 5 seconds for exceeding track limits. So apparently Vorovud not quite keeping it within the lines.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't know what corner. It was just initially specified, and the penalty message also only specifies that it's for track limits violations, but not too surprising that you get them around here, really, given that corners like turn 4, probably say 7 and 8 would be pretty prime candidates, and then maybe something like turn 11 or 14 would also be on the mark for where you'd be losing or pushing the limits to try and gain time. 10 seconds the gap for the race lead now from Vutikorn back to Piti Birombakti here on screen. On the last lap, not a good lap from Piti. Nearly 2 seconds slower than what Vutikorn was able to do, to put it all in context. As there he rounds the exit of turn 6 up into this double right-hand sweep.
Indeed, he does. Now, it looks like the pit window. Oh, no! Piti Birombakti spins! Oh, the Audi just avoids getting into him, and he gets it pointed in the right direction, but now he's stopped on the exit of a high-speed corner. You need to keep an eye out on that one. Sorry, I said Piti Birombakti. It's Vorovud Birombakti. My apologies. In the Singer Motorsport Team Thailand Ferrari. Got majorly unsettled coming off the double right. Fortunately, he has gotten it back going and the car seems undamaged, but that's a big blow to the team. They've lost their podium for the moment.
Yeah, that's definitely nasty there. As almost by stealth, I'd be saying here, Reese. We're actually nearly a full minute into the pit window being open here in the races. There you go. Just tick under 34 minutes remaining. So you have from 35 minutes remaining until 25 minutes remaining to come down the pits and serve your compulsory pit stop, and make sure that you're in the pit lane, entry to exit, for at least the specified time. Straight to the pit lane for Vorwood Birambakti.
Yeah.
Carlo Van Dam going to be getting aboard. Looks like also a car in front of them, also heading for the pits, which should be the 786 B-Quik Absolute Racing Audi now. Indeed, yes, it is. They're in the pit lane, and a couple of GT4s just ahead of them too down the lane this lap.
Yeah, so 5 of our GT3 cars are in the lane here. The top 2, Viticorn will hand over to Lauren Heinrich, and then Piti Birambakti is going to hand over the number 12 to Kantasak Kasiri, with Hazik and Vorwood Birambakti getting joined in the pits by Henk Kicks and Sandy Stuvik now. So here's another look at what happened to Vorwood there. Just got unsettled over the curb, and the car was already sliding by the time he got to the exit. Lucky escape for the Audi. That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. That actually just doesn't look as bad from that angle. But yeah, nevertheless, that could have been nasty indeed. So Adasak walks away with it here. And it's back live, watching the pit stop countdown for Vudakorn. Heading up towards probably at a minute 30 by now. To put it in perspective, let me get the pit stop times up for these cars, because there is, of course, all varied things. So minimum time this weekend, 85 seconds from entry to exit. So there we go. Away goes the number 18 machine. And then, depending on the FIA driver grade that each driver has to be assigned or is given for racing in this class of car, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, that will affect exactly how long they adjust things for. And then there's, on top of that, a one-off if you're a new entry to the series, a little bit more time there involved, and then how you went in the last race of the championship, also with some compensation time. So longest pit stop today actually goes to the number 27. At least this is of the GT3. So 27 GT3. Adasak and Akash Nandi. They get their 85-second minimum. You have to add on 27 seconds because Adasak is FIA bronze and Akash Nandi is FIA silver rated. And then, because it's the first time they've raced together this season, Reese, add on another 15 seconds for a grand total of pit in to pit out time of 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Well, that time is elapsing as we speak because they only recently just came into the pits. Simon Chan out of the lane after having 10 further seconds added to his pit time, thanks to the contact that we unfortunately missed with the number 77 Ferrari in GTM. Back out onto the circuit for the majority of the field. And things still looking as stable as they were before the pit cycle started, apart, of course, from that unfortunate spin for the Singer Motorsport Team Thailand Ferrari. Check back in with the 786, the B-Quik Absolute Racing car. Hazik now handing over and making their way nicely through the GT4 traffic. First time into the heavy braking zone of the final corner. Hooks up the apex as well as you can at that particular turn. Again, the negative camber and the elevation through that corner throws you off as you come into it. The 44 in the lane as well. One of the last running of our GT4s there. That's Prutirat driving solo for this one. And Shuipang is in the pits with him. So I think their battle may or may not continue for the last 2 running positions. Lauren Heinrich is now in the number 18 AAS Motorsport Porsche. And it looks like they're holding on still to a solid, effective race lead.
Sure, I look at my timing and scoring, which unfortunately in this pit period is quite the jumble because with the pits, the positions only updating once a lap. It does mean that cars are a little out of shape, but I think indeed they should be comfortably class leading. In fact, if that data is to be believed on screen, they're class leading by about 15 seconds over the 786 for Zeke and now Aaron behind the wheel. Kansak Asiri down in third in class, and then the 27 here though still yet to pit, and actually has there the 89 Ferrari of Carlo Van Dam trapped a lap down for now anyways.
Righto. Looks like another message coming in from race control. Another car has gotten a little slap on the wrist. Black and white flag for car 39 for track limits infringement. That's Mitchell Chair at the wheel now of the number 39. So something else for the team to worry about as they fight near the front of the GT4 Pro-Am class. Swap for position between Vorovud Birumbakti and this number 27. There is, of course, I think about a lap's difference between those cars at the moment because the number 27 has not come into the pits yet, but I get the feeling they might be making their way there very shortly, deep into the final corner. No, not going for it this time.
Yep, it's been orderly so far. As that's the message we saw on timing screens a couple of minutes ago. The 5-second penalty for car 89 for track limits infringements. So, actually, speaking of that, let's have a quick look at the 89. Sits 8th. Did a pit stop in time of 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Interesting. That's enough to... 202, otherwise 122 seconds, is enough to clear their compulsory time requirements. But it would appear, if they have not served the additional 5 seconds, that the time penalty was indicating that they should have done so to clear it here during the race. So we'll have to wait for confirmation if that'll simply be added on, or if there's going to, post-race that is, or if there's going to be some more issues around the failure to serve the penalty according to the message.
Something to think about going forward. Well, 26 minutes to go in this race. Remember, thanks to TSS regulations, they will be doing an extra lap after the timer has concluded. One of our final pitters here, the number 19 Toyota Gazoo Racing Thailand car. Grant handing over to Sutapong in the number 19. And at the time they came into the pits, they held on to P1 in their class. They've decided to bring it in a little later, perhaps get some extra track time and a chance to gain a few seconds or more on the rest of them. Driver in the car now, and away they go. Just need to wait for that to conclude, and away they go. Back out of pit lane. 60k an hour pit speed limit at Sepang for these cars. And there is the pit exit right there, where the board is on the right-hand side, and they come out well ahead of their nearest competitors there. Very well done indeed. Now just need to focus and get these last 25 minutes run and done.
So, interesting to note there that we were under the expectation they'd be running in the secondary pit lane this weekend, but no, they're actually in the primary pit lane there on the start-finish stretch. So, almost like a snap of our fingers as well, we've just crossed the 25-minute marker remaining in this race. Pit stop window is over, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you made sure to get all your stops done, and indeed everyone is either on their out lap and finishing it up, or has already been out there for a little bit of time. As Carlo Van Dam, Sandy Stuvik here now racing for 5th position outright or in class. Oh, and in class, I should say, sorry. Although, not importantly, the pit stop rules have indeed shaken the order up. second place is indeed in the hands of Aaron Limsey-June, the driver of the 786 Audi. They have rocketed up the order with a short stop.
Certainly have. Only a few seconds back, though, to Kantasak Kasiri, who's taken over the Singer Motorsport Team Thailand Honda NSX. And further battle in GT4 here. The two Caymans going at it down the alternate start-finish straight. Big defense there. One of the mirrors is folded in on the number 32 there. That's Satapond, who's taken over that car. And a lovely undercut there. The over-under, as they like to call it. Beautiful move indeed for the number 99 there with Thanapatra at the wheel of the AAS Motorsport machine. It's about as clean as you want to do it.
Indeed. Just confirming there is the 99 on the screen. For a second, I thought that was the number 1. Car there you go. Akash Nani's not waiting around for GT4 traffic at this stage of the race. He's got 2 cars close behind him who'd like to race for that 5th place and catch him to make it about a 3-way fight for 4th in GT3. As there you go, a little bit of a debrief down in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Thailand garage is there. So that would be Manat having jumped out of the number 9 car, running 4th in the class. And leave it to Natapong to finish the race. As this is the GT4 race lead, with 2nd in GT3 bearing down on them as well. And once again, another battle that's been completely flipped on its head by the pit stop rules. The number 98, Todd James Kingsford, who is leading the GT4 AM division, as well as the class, has now come out with Mitchell here in that Supra's. Oh, we're going to lose it for a second. Eyes on the 786. I need to see the GT4 cars if we can, because that's where the big battle is at, as we do have this impending fight.
They're side by side.
It's side by side through turn 14. We've got 2 battles, only 1 camera shot. There we go. We get them both now on the 15.
And straight back to the GT3s as Kantasak Kasiri catches up to Aaron in the braking zone. Meanwhile, the Supra in the lead of GT4. It looks like Mitchell.
Oh, no.
He's just managed to get alongside Todd James Kingsford there. But the fight now between the 12 and the 786. Is there anything here for Kantasak Kasiri? Up the inside of turn 1. Straight line to the inside of the corner, and it seems that Aaron doesn't have much fight for that one. The Singer car making a very short work of that move into the first corner. But how's that GT4 battle going? They'll have gained quite a bit of time on them now. They're going to pop into frame. There they are. There's actually quite some distance between them now.
Yeah, Mitchell has come out ahead of Todd Kingsford there through turns 1 and 2, and yeah, quite handily so. But a critical update has just come through from Race Control, Reese, and it's not a good look for the Singer Motorsport Team Thailand. Not this car here on screen right now, as our cameraman's just, I think, hunting for that GT4 shot there. But very much now, the number 39 machine, Mitchell Chia Minji, now comfortably pulling away back again to the lead GT4 class. But the important thing, number 89, the Ferrari 296 GT3 from Singer Motorsport Team Thailand. Remember how we said 5-second time penalty that they were meant to serve during the pit stop and they didn't, according to the stop times? Turns out means they're subject to exactly the same rules as normal. If you are short on your pit stop here in TSS, you have to come back down the pit lane and serve the remaining time as a stop and go penalty. 4 seconds short, 4 seconds in the box to clear that time once again before they're allowed back out into the race. And of course, with a pit lane like this here on a long, fast front stretch, that is going to be hell on that car's result here today.
That's brutal. Brutal for Ovud Birambakti and Carlo Van Dam. They will likely end up losing a spot in the top 5 thanks to that one. The gap between them and the Henk Kick Sandy Stuvik entry for B-Quik Absolute Racing is certainly... Oh, hello. Local yellow? What's happened here?
Yeah, not sure. Timing says that the track is still green. I don't quite see anything on the track map that suggests anyone's slow or stuck.
Interesting.
So whether it's something that's happened off screen and we've just caught the marshal for a moment, or there's something out there that we can't see yet, we're going to have to wait for some updates from Race Control. Got here the 33, the 32, and the 95. These guys are fighting, second in GT4 AM for Iaro in that B-Quik Absolute Racing Cayman. But you then had 33 and the 95. They are all battling over 15th outright, which is the final spot on the podium in GT4. Or have I got that? I got something off. It's 4th place, 4th, 5th, 6th GT4 outright. As also, and I look here at Simon Chan, who has retaken the GTM class lead despite having to add 10 seconds to his compulsory pit stop time, although...
Looks like the 24 is still classed as in the lead. Okay, fact, there we go. That just swapped over on the timing screen there.
Yeah, but I guess part of the issue. Part of the issue is here is again with it updating once every lap, and it's all relative to race leader outright. So that it actually means, because I think Manat and Nanopong's car it did update just before we saw the change again. Would mean that they're a long way in front. For the GTM category. But I guess, hey, 10 seconds additional to your pit stop.
Wondering if the 10 has stopped out on track. Our producer, Jay Kennedy, who's handling getting the stream to you guys behind the scenes, he pointed out that there's potential that yellow that we were seeing before was for Simon Chan, who may have stopped on the racetrack. The Sector 1 time for Simon Chan on this lap is a huge outlier. Usually it's around 30 seconds. 1 minute and 42 seconds it took Simon Chan to negotiate Sector 1. So, yeah, definitely something happened there for the number 10.
And, yeah, that would have to be what the yellow was for, because his timing sector will update in a second once that car eventually gets its way around. Whilst we look here at the 36 and the 7... 19th and 20th for Hayden Heikel versus LaRue in the Team NZ Aston Martin. But cut away from them once again, Roman LaRue, I should say, for that Aston Martin, because we're looking back now at, again, Lauren Heinrich, your race leader here. 28 seconds last time at the start-finish line. So it's going to update again shortly for us when it resets. Also note there, actually, on the timing tower and also on our timing screens, the 77 Sarah Vutana-Fig has dropped way down the order into the midst of the GTM cars, although there's Nata Vude.
No sector times are coming up for the number 77. Last lap time was a 4-minute 27, apparently.
For two of our GTM cars ground to a halt for reasons unknown, perhaps, then. And that would give us the answer of why did we have yellow flags? Well, maybe 2 cars coming to a stop. Whether that was separate or together, unfortunately, we don't have those answers.
Yeah, hopefully we do get some context soon. Only 14 and a half minutes remaining in this race. But for now, Lauren Heinrich cruising in the lead of the races. There's the number 77. It looks like the timing has sorted itself back out, and it actually shows them back in the GTM lead for now.
Okay.
Up ahead of Natavude there, and we saw that on camera as well. So maybe a timing glitch. It might have been a transponder issue for the 77.
timing glitch or because of the positioning of the outright race leader tripping things up as well. So that actually was the other way around. That was actually a race position there that was worth watching. As looking here at your GT3 AM class leaders, Zeke Zairo starting the race and Aaron Limsey June in the car at this present time. They are looking pretty good. They've got 9 seconds still back to Akash Nandi in the second of the B-Quik Absolute Racing Audis. They did lose 1.5 seconds, though, on the last lap. And they keep that up. Well, the gap will get close, but at 2 minutes a lap around here at Sepang in these GT machines, they should be safe, if only just, for holding on to the outright podium. Never say never, though, because you got traffic, let alone any other issues you might encounter out here at this circuit. So eyes have got to be laser focused on this racetrack. I just want to look here. 89 machine still hasn't come to the pit lane before we've been back to you. Carlo Van Dam now behind the wheel. So the Single Motorsport Team Thailand machine still owes us the second pit stop to serve the remaining time required under the stop rules. And well, it's a penalty, not a stop, I guess, Reese. Looking here again, still focusing on the 78.6, passing one of our Toyota Supras in GT4, and the battle here for fourth on the road. This is starting to definitely. No, pardon me. That's actually switched around since the last lap started, but there we go. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. That's going to be the 89 coming in to serve a penalty. And so that grants an extra position to Henk Kicks and Sandy Stuvik. They now sit fourth overall and in our GT3 class. So brutal when you get it. Oh, no.
Oh,
oh no. That's
27.
Yeah, that's the other B-Quik Absolute Racing car. Oh, dear. What's happened to Akash Nandi there? Potentially getting crossed up on the curb once again.
Turn 13, sweeper into turn 14. The rear is beach in the sand, folks. We might just get ourselves a late race safety car as we zoom on in.
That's
the car.
Buried.
Yeah, the car looks okay, apart from the small issue of the fact that those front tires are barely touching the asphalt part of the runoff. And Cash, that car's not coming out under your own power now when it's buried that deep in the sand. So that's going to be another replay that we're going to want to have a look at, because this will turn the race on its head on the presumption that the safety car is called. Timing is still green for the moment. We're waiting to see. We'll look for the boards and the flags on screen here, Reese, because we're coming up. You see Kantak's here going to pass by the stricken 27. He backs off a little bit. Come on, we need the white shot. There we go. Yellow flags out on turn 14, 15. Safety car boards and flags should be coming out with that any second now.
Yeah, safety car called by race control. And yeah, no surprise there. It's at a very high-speed section of the circuit in a curved braking zone that Audi has beached itself. So massive safety hazard. No doubt they'll be getting the safety crews out there as soon as they can. Now, the problem is, you know, if you're not familiar with this aspect of motorsport, particularly when you make a mistake, yes, gravel slows down the cars quite a bit, but you get into the gravel and you start spinning those rear wheels to try and get it out of the gravel trap. There's a chance that you can just fling off those loose stones and dig yourself deeper in the gravel trap. And those GT3 cars, they produce quite a few hundred horsepower. So those that attraction's very hard to control when you're at a stop on a loose surface. So unfortunate for the GT3 machine, but there's no way it's getting out of that gravel trap without assistance.
Yep, so safety car's caught the race leader, so it would appear, so we'll just wait to see how long it takes for the field to bunch up, because this is now another big thing. It closes the field up, but not only do we have to worry about recovery of the 27, but we also have to worry about, well, what's it going to take for the field to catch up, because they'll be all running around at a reduced pace, somewhat. given that that's a thing that we have to do in the real world with safety cars. You can't just go belting around the circuit, even where there's no incident to worry about. And you have to drive to a prescribed and slower speed. Although, just seeing messages come through on the race control systems that all cars are encouraged to keep the pace up to catch the safety car. And you can see now the queue really starting to form up now out of turn 8 in towards turn number 9. So that should hopefully resolve that question of how long. Much in saying that, last car on my trap map is they're on the start finish straight. So they're going to have, it's going to take at least another half lap, if not more. And at safety car speeds, we're probably talking another 2 minutes for that half lap at least.
Yeah, well, I understand why they've sent that message out to the teams, because it is late in the race, and obviously nobody wants the race to finish under safety car. So get everyone in order as quickly as you can around the parts of the track where it is safe to do so. And then once that Audi's been cleared, they'll be able to get the race going again very shortly. There we go. They've just removed it from the gravel trap there. Now, question is, will they be allowed to continue? Potentially they will be, but I am not familiar with the exact subsection of the rules regarding outside assistance.
And unfortunately, neither am I. Make that a bit of homework for myself this evening, perhaps, to see if our...
Well, we'll get our answer soon.
Get our copy. Well, it's just very true. We can almost just watch and wait to see what happens here on the circuit. That'll answer probably any faster than any casual reading we can get done. We'll sort it out. So you can see most of the field now lined up in the safety car queue. In fact, I think we've only got a handful of cars left now that we're waiting on to catch, and they're not that far behind anymore. So that's a good sign. We might be able to get this one going once again at the end of this lap here. So we'll have probably about 4 minutes. No, not even. It's a full. It's just, there you go. Racing lap is 2 minutes. A safety car lap is over 4 minutes for your race leader. So we're going to have about 2 minutes when this race gets back underway. That means we are potentially looking at a 2-lap sprint. If anything, this is actually quite... it's going to be very much the American green-white checker spec of finish for this one here, Reese.
Yes, and it looks like the field has caught back up. So just waiting on our last couple of GT4s, and the number 77, it looks like the GTM Ferrari is actually far behind everyone else at the moment, just approaching the final corner. Looks like they're the only one that needs to catch up to the safety car queue. Hopefully that happens in short order and we can get this race going.
Well, once again, as per, you see the timing scene, the field's well through turn 1. There's no one on the start-finish stretch, and the 77 has just jumped back up to the top of the GTM field. So there's something up with that car's transponder and the way, the time it takes for that to get through to the timing system. And it's throwing things around for a loop. So all of your GT3 cars are on the same lap now, barring the 27 of Adisak and Akash and Andy, since they will be out of this one here and now. But the other big thing is our queue here is not sorted by class. So when we do get a restart, you've got Nadavude there sitting in between the top 2 in GT3. Now, in that case... Oh, no, sorry. There's a Feek in the 77. We've got 2 cars. So you've got your race leader, then your top 2 in GTM, then second and third in GT3. It's going to be messy here if we do get this race restart, as we'd be hoping for, to maximize the number of racing laps we can get in. Still no update from race control yet that we will be going green at the end of this lap if everything out on circuit is A-OK as we believe it to be, at least.
Okay. Lights still on the safety car, and if we were going green this lap, I think the lights would be out by now. But it looks like we've just received the message from race control. Safety car is coming in, so we will be getting this race going with, I'd say, about 2.5 minutes to go at most. And don't forget, they have to do an extra lap after the timer has concluded. So we will get a few more laps of action here for TSS Race 1 at Sepang.
All right, so indeed it may be the green. Well, it's not white. We get a board. We get a final lap board usually. As there you go, safety car is moving a little faster now, and it would appear that Lauren Heinrich is going to take control of the field, bunch them up. Does that mean we are going to see an early jump from your race leader, or is it in his interests? I guess for him, he couldn't really care less, I guess, with the pace they've shown today. And also the fact, again, you've got the top two in GTM sitting behind you as sort of somewhat rolling roadblocks. I mean, looking at the best times today between GT3 and GTM, pace delta is around 2 to 4 seconds. Well, that's not really going to matter here because Lauren Heinrich has put the foot down on the approach to turn 15, and here we go, a bit of tyre warming to get the preparations in. We are going to have, indeed, just over 2 minutes and 20 seconds, Reese, to get this race complete. So we are going to go this lap, next lap, timer will then hit 0. So indeed, this is 3 laps to go here from Sepang. As there you go in the background, it's getting busy with GTM and GT4 mixed up.
Yes, indeed it is. GT4 being led by Nakiban Mitchell. Mitchell at the wheel of the number 39. And moves being made there. That's the the Singer Motorsport Team Thailand Honda NSX getting past the GTM Supra. Solid run, and then a huge pack of cars. All of our GT4s trying to dice for position here. This safety car has actually really helped out those GT4s back in the pack. It allows them to have another opportunity to attack. And I think the same goes for Sandy Stuvik at the wheel of the B-Quik Porsche there on the right side of your screen, looking at a potential podium here. But they have to negotiate the GTM Supra first.
Oh boy, that was a little hairy there because I'm pretty certain Danny Stuvik thought that was going to be a clean way through off of turn 4 and going to have to wait here for the run into turn 7 and 8 before he can get that position taken up, and as a result lose a chunk of time. And Heinrich has put the hammer down a couple of tenths faster in sector 1. The sector 2 intermediate I think is after turn 12, so we'll get a read on what the time loss has been here, because there you go, Pity Born back to his Kinetic Series, sorry, finally through on a Afik in your GTM class leading car, as Heinrich I think has gone through, did a 36.9 in sector 2 versus 38.2 seconds for Kasiri, so 1.3 seconds lost just in behind your leading car in GTM, and as a result streaking out here in front. And now the question is, can the battle, which is now going to be for third, not second, it would appear, based on the way that the field is spreading. How will this go down between the B-Quik Absolute Racing cars? GT3 AM versus Pro AM. So they're not racing for the same division, Reese, but it's an outright podium on the line, and certainly that is going to be important.
Yeah, we'll be on Sandy Stuvik's mind here. Looks like the Porsche not quite able to gain an advantage on the Audi in a straight line, but he is confident on the brakes. He fires towards the inside of turn 1, and Aaron Lim goes wide to allow Stuvik through. And there is your overall podium changed, with the 77 Ferrari still leading GTM. And that's sorted out our top 4 or so. Vorevud Birambakti and Carlo Van Dam. Just saw them in the back of the camera shot there. The timer has hit 0, so once Lauren Heinrich comes through across the line, it will be 1 lap to go.
Yep, he got there by a handful of seconds at the end of the day. Also, don't forget, for the 89 machine of Carlo Van Dam, Vorevud Birambakti, that safety car came at if anything, the right time, because they had barely gotten down the pit lane to be able to get that penalty served. If they waited any longer, that would have been problems for them, to say the least. But all done, all served. They're back in the race, but they are currently sitting 5 seconds behind the 786 of Aaron Lim. So we'll see here if that changes on this last lap, but I get the feeling not really outside of something out of the ordinary. That curve there through turn 13. Still haven't seen the incident for the 27 without Akash and Annie behind the wheel. Hopefully we'll get a chance to have something come up as part of the replay and we can pick that apart momentarily to understand what happened. But as you said there, indeed, for Lauren Heinrich, he's going to round the final corner. The last lap board is displayed at the start-finish line. 5.5 kilometers of racetrack remain for your GT3 drivers as they come around here to complete this race. Next time around, that is, anyways. As there you go, top 5 now all unimpeded by traffic, but they are spaced out race, so it's probably going to have to be the way it is, barring something big. The main thing is we've got to get our eyes on the GT4 battle. It's getting very feisty according to my timing screens. We're talking 900ths of a second between Mitchell and Kennedy Kasiri. The number 1 GT4 car, defending series champions in that machine. They've been nowhere. Here we are, Reese. Final lap. This is where our eyes need to be.
Absolutely. Mirror to mirror on the way down to turn 1, and looks like the AAS car squeezing the Supra to the inside of turn 1. They're deep, they're wide, neither of them quite hit the curb, and then a cutback to try and get the run out of turn 2 from Candide Kusiri. When they emerge from behind the palm trees, we'll see them still incredibly close together, flat out through turn 3 there, and then the braking zone for turn 4. Is there anything that can be done? The ENG Autoworks racing car, the number 95, is right with them as well. A little puff of dust there on the inside of turn 4. It seems that the 39 with Mitchell Cheer at the wheel is fighting hard to keep the lead of this race.
They've been comfortable all race long, and the important thing here is that I don't know what happened early on in the race for Kimit Karnasutra and Kantidi Kasiri. They struggled, and they were down the order. That's not something we've normally seen, and they've been almost uncontested in that GT4 category, but they're there with a shot. We break away from them for now, though, to pick up Lauren Heinrich as you will round the final corner here at the Sepang International Circuit. It has been 26 laps. This will be 27 laps of what has been pretty dominant racing here from the AES Motorsport by Earl Bamber Motorsport outfit, and they will take another checkered flag here in season 2025. As Candice Saksiri will have to settle for second place and nearly 7 seconds back. Sandy Stuvik will round the podium off to make it 2 Porsches sandwiching the Honda in the middle, with your GT3 AM win going to Aaron Lim there in 4th ahead of Carlo Van Dam. We can then pick up the GTM class winners. Oh, a bit of snakes out of the final corner there. I think that's for Nadavude. Yes, it is indeed the 24 AM division car. But back to the GT4 battle here is, looking to the final turn here. It's on.
Oh, it's on. Trying around the outside is Kentidi Kasiri. Is there any form of cutback he can make? He's pushing so hard. He gets onto the grass out of the final corner, but that's not going to be enough. Mitchell Chair will take the win there in the number 39. A great finish in our GT4 category. Everyone together at the line. How do you like it? That safety car gave us a fantastic finish in our lower class, but for this number 18, redemption for Vujikorn and Lauren Heinrich after the final race at Bang Sen ended in flames for this very car.
Quite the roundabout, or the turnaround, I should say, for them here this weekend, but continuing off where their pace suggested they should have been last time out, which nearly 5 weeks ago now, which is a bit of a shame. We'd love to see these cars out more often, but such is the challenges of scheduling racing amongst everything else that's going on in the world here. So looks like your podium getters and top finishers in GT3 that are all going to happily trundle on back roughly together here today. As you can see, 5 of the 6 cars that finished ended up there separated by about 16 seconds. As we've also just had an update that our feed here today is going to wrap up pretty quickly here. Reese, unfortunately, it's a little different than a usual production from time where we will often get a whole lot extra. So probably need to even start talking about what's coming tomorrow. We get to see this race all over again in many respects. Of course, a different starting grid will be important. There's also, of course, quite a different time. It's actually just gone 6 o'clock for me down in Melbourne, Australia. So it's getting dark outside. But we're going to have an afternoon race for me, at least. It'll be a morning race, though, for you. And the forecast for the final bit of information from me is expect a lot of rain.
Yes. If there's anything that's continuous with racing in the Southeast Asia region, it is the ever-present threat of rain, thunderstorms. When it comes down hard in this part of the world. So here's hoping that we do get a race tomorrow. Remember last year where we weren't even able to get a race start because the rain was so heavy. But at the very least, it's going to provide a huge challenge to these drivers, and they'll have to use their entire skill set to find their way through it. We'll see if this number 18 can hold on to the sheer pace that it's held today. Get 2 race wins from this weekend. They had the fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes and 6.33 seconds. They are the form crew to watch for tomorrow.
There sure will be. That start time where you should expect the green flag to be drawn for the formation lap will be 11:55 a.m. circuit time in Malaysia, 10:55 a.m. If you're centering your clocks on Thailand. And it also means it's, as Reese was saying, it's the same time for the track as it is for him. And for me, that's 1:55 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard, as it looks like they're going to pull the cars up here right at pit entry. And so, once again, it will be pretty much just a little bit of warm-up before the race. So probably expect us live about 10, maybe 15 minutes prior to that. So make sure to tune in back with us, therefore, at about 11:40 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Malaysia time, folks, to catch the warm-up and preparation to race 6 of the championship for the Super Series by B-Quik here in the Supercar GT3, GTM, and GT4 categories. Reese, I guess any final closing notes here before things wrap up for the day here in Sepang?
I think that what you should look out for tomorrow is potential for more safety cars if we do get a wet race, and that means there won't be much opportunity for those huge gaps to be brought out like we were able to see as Lauren Heinrich gets out of the car. Obviously, very satisfied with his performance, as he should be. Professional GT driver, pole position for the Spa 24 hours earlier in the year as well, I believe. So keep an eye out for him once he jumps into that number 18. But yeah, expect potential chaos tomorrow, depending on the weather.
Yep, and that'll be where, of course, we see drivers make or break their moments. Of course, you'd expect a driver like Lauren, who's experienced everything from factory Porsche racing in Europe to racing with Porsche in IMSA in America. He might be one of the best suited to adapting to any challenging conditions here. But never say never when it comes to seeing perhaps a surprise from amongst the field here. And of course, there are the other categories to worry about as well, which don't necessarily have the international star power we do have here. So it looks like they go give me a quick interview with Vodacom, which we can sort of hear, but unfortunately not quite. So be curious to know one day what the thoughts are of these drivers here, because of course we can understand what they say when they're asking drivers like Lauren what's up, but still got to add those Thai language lessons to the personal schedule. Let's listen in here.
For our third win of the season, Vodacom put us on pole position, and we didn't have a success penalty from the race before, so obviously for us, we were in the best position before the race and we just had to bring it home. That's exactly what we did, and I think it was very important for the championship. Now for tomorrow we have a success penalty, but I'm very confident that hopefully we can score a similar result. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you. Good. Very good. So tomorrow we do again.
Oh, Lauren Heinrich gets it done there in the number 18 as we conclude our proceedings here at Sepang for day one of Thailand Super Series by B-Quik. 6.8 seconds the gap for the win there in the AAS Motorsport by Earl Bamber Motorsport Porsche in GT3. In our GTM class, despite the massive hobbling of the balance of performance, the number 77, still the fastest of them all, the Ferrari taking victory there. And in GT4, only 0.2 of a second the gap for Mitchell Chemin-J and Candide Kusiri there in our top two. And unfortunately, 7 laps down for the final car in that class, and plenty of drama still to come here from the Sepang International Circuit. Dan, before we close out, I believe we might be getting some highlights just to review the race that has just been run, but altogether, great first day here.
Yeah, 100%. I'll be looking forward to see maybe to go back and watch the qualifying from earlier today, because qualifying was done here for both sessions. Important though, I think there was from Lauren that Vodacom had to qualify the car for today's race, and he did put that car on pole. So there's certainly, and we saw it in the opening half of this race too, that whilst we talk about Lauren, of course, being international competitor and champion driver across multiple series around the world with Porsche, that Vodacom no slouch of his own amongst these drivers here from Thailand in this field. So it's a strong pairing and a good team, both combination of AS Motorsport, which has been racing across various categories here in Thailand, but also backed by Earl Bamber Motorsport, which of course we've seen support many a winning combination across the world with their own racing categories and programs.
Well, it looks like that's going to be the end of things. We won't be getting a highlights package for this one. So while we have a moment here, big thanks to all of you who tuned in throughout the world, whether you came from Thailand, from Malaysia, from one of the many countries we've seen people in the broadcast chat commenting on. Really appreciate you being along here for the ride with us, and we will see you once again tomorrow right here in the same place. I'm Reese Gardner, Dan Yeaman alongside me in the comms box, Jay Kennedy, bringing you the English language stream behind the scenes. The Super Series by B-Quik at Malaysia still far from over. We'll see you tomorrow.